I'm Ariel Patricia back again, and now our topic is mediumship. And with our author of our upcoming book, Mediumship Sacred Communications with Loved Ones Across the Veil, we have Suzanne Giesemann. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Suzanne, and then we're going to jump right in. So this is going to be such a joy. So Suzanne Giesemann is a teacher of personal transformation, an author, and a medium who has been recognized on the Watkins list of the 100 most spiritually influential living people. Suzanne is a former Navy commander with a master's degree in national security affairs. She served as a commanding officer and aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Suzanne now shares the Awakened Way, a path to living a consciously connected and divinely guided life. And as I mentioned, I'm delighted to share that Suzanne is the author in our upcoming book, Mediumship, Sacred Communications with Loved Ones from Across the Veil, which is actually now in a call for stories. So if you have a sacred communication with a loved one who has crossed the veil, please visit our website, sacredstories.com, and look for information on Suzanne, the call for stories for Suzanne's book. So welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you, Ariel. Just great to be here and part of this series.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you, and I'm really excited for this topic because I feel like, especially today, it seems like there is just a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma and there's a lot of drama, and there's a lot of people that are experiencing loss in many different ways. And so to be able to have a conversation with an evidential medium as such as yourself, and understand what mediumship is and how it can be a support to us who are still in the present, I think is so needed and so helpful. So that's going to be my first question for you, Suzanne. If you can explain what an evidential medium is.
Absolutely. And you are so right. This has the potential to change lives forever and very quickly. An evidential medium is someone who brings through verifiable information about those who have passed that they could not possibly know. So the evidence are facts, details, personality, characteristics about the person who has passed that come from that person directly in a two-way communication across the veil through the medium, and shows the person still here that their loved one still exists.
Can you talk a little bit about your personal experience with mediumship? Maybe before we get into what mediumship, how it helps us, maybe explain a little bit about why this is such an important topic. And how you're a teacher of it.
Yeah, you shared my background, very left brain, that military background, serving at the highest level. I didn't think about the afterlife. I didn't realize there was a greater reality. I wasn't concerned about death until I retired from the Navy. Actually, back up a little. 9/11, I was up close and personal as a witness to both Manhattan and the Pentagon on that day as the chairman's aide. That started me asking questions about the afterlife, but it wasn't so personal that I stayed with it. I didn't get answers at the time. And then my stepdaughter died in 2006. And that caused me to ask questions again. Why do some people die young? Is this life all there is? But most importantly, can I still connect with Susan? Because I just knew she couldn't be, quote, dead and gone. I saw her body at the funeral, and I just knew, Ariel, in that moment, there is something that enlivens the body, and it's the spirit. So the most life-changing moment for me was when I took my husband to a medium and had a reading 7 months after she passed. Within 1 hour, my whole worldview was knocked on its end, because that medium brought through evidence about our Susan that she could not have possibly known, including bringing through a little baby boy who was with Susan, who she wanted to introduce to us. And Ariel, Susan was pregnant with a baby boy when she was killed by lightning. So you can see, I see by your reaction, that was how my reaction was. Just absolute stunning, because I made sure this medium didn't know my last name, knew nothing about us. She brought through Susan's personality and many things she couldn't have known. So suddenly I wanted to know everything I could about mediumship, and I dove in. And at first I was only going to write the books about two very well-known and excellent evidential mediums, which I did. But in the process of doing that, and in the process of meditating daily with my goal of connecting with Susan, I discovered that I could connect with loved ones as well, and just opened up that connection, and came to realize through my meditative practice that we all have the ability to connect because we're all souls. But meanwhile, the potential of mediumship to heal someone's grief, to open people to the understanding of who we really are as souls in a physical body, is all there in mediumship. It is a sacred practice that's available to all of us.
I think you almost answered my next question, which was about, one of the benefits of mediumship, but you speak about how it brought you, and I'm sure your husband, some great peace or inner peace in knowing that Susan and your grandchild, were well and were still with you in many ways.
Yes. Well, we met a man just the other day, Ariel, and within minutes discovered what we shared in common is both of us have a daughter across the veil. And this man, he's going about his life seemingly normal, but he admitted she was killed in a traffic accident. And he said, I'm just so angry. And I cry in the shower every day so nobody sees me. This has been going on for 2 years for this man. And as I listened to him, I knew, you sit with me for one mediumship reading and we'll change that, because we'll show you your daughter still is part of your life and she still exists, and you will meet her again. I have changed people's lives by the thousands with the awareness that, my gosh, this is them. They're still here. So the healing potential, as we mentioned, is profound. But it goes beyond that to the deeper metaphysics of who we really are, because this man said he spends every day just asking why. Here's this beautiful young woman who had everything going for her, who was killed instantly. And that is the question people ask, but it's the wrong question. The proper question is, what can I do to honor my loved one who has passed? Because the why is revealed through mediumship. When we understand that we're all souls and we don't die, and that life is eternal and ongoing, then why is no longer a necessary question, because if we don't die and we're still learning and growing even across the veil, why just is a nonsensical question. It was their time, we don't know, but the bottom answer is they're still here. So how do we learn to connect with them, and how do we honor their lives? It's love. The bottom answer is love. We've been more
it sounds like that your spirituality or your spiritual journey was deepened through this process as well.
Oh, exponentially. And I see it over and over and over with those who I teach mediumship to, and those who just begin meditating to connect themselves with their own loved ones. Once you quiet the human mind that's constantly jumping around, people are familiar with the term monkey mind. Once you sit quietly and come to know that there's this light within you, you realize that the love that we're seeking outside of ourselves is right here. And to connect mediumistically, we have to become quiet. When you realize that your loved one is still here from having a reading with a medium, and you realize you can learn to connect with them, you're more motivated to go into the silence. And any practice that creates space in our awareness and shows us that we are part of something so much greater, that we're not only human, will catapult your spiritual journey. Yeah.
So if we bring that into even to the larger world, and we take it from the personal to the collective, talk a little bit about how mediumship can be a almost a tool in some ways, right? In order to expand our maybe our collective presence or our collective love.
Absolutely. As we learn to connect across the veil, as we notice the signs that our loved ones are sending, as we receive communication from non-physical beings, our inner light literally turns up. Those across the veil see us burning brighter. That's the love, that's our true nature, that just turns on and turns up. It never actually goes out, of course. But if you picture all of us in humanity as individual lights, and imagine each one burning a little brighter, it turns up the collective whole. This is a metaphor, but it's actual truth. My guides, who I communicate with daily, show me that they can see the light of humanity burning brighter. They say we've gone from the dark ages, and they jokingly say these are the dim ages, because all you have to do is read the headlines to see we have a ways to go. But books like these in the series are helping all of us to turn up the lights of humanity, and it's infectious. That's a good infection to have, right?
I'm going to think of that as the dim ages. I love that. That's the term that, and it's funny because of all the times in history, I'd say that I am the most attracted to, it is the Renaissance. I'm a Renaissance buff. I can't get enough of the Renaissance, when art and beauty and light was, kind of brought back to the world. So to really think of that in this way, I think is really powerful. And I think it's also very empowering as well. And I find it really interesting. Maybe you could speak on this, but we're talking about an experience for people that is one of, I would say the most terrific or traumatic that they could experience in this life.
Yeah.
And not taking away from the individual's experiences or feelings, but to be able to frame it in a way, as you're doing, to show that this is an eternal process, and it is filled with love and support.
That's right. I'll tell you, you talk about affecting people here. I recently did a reading for a gentleman, and his son is across the veil. And the son across the veil said that his brother here has a dog whose paw is hurt. And the father didn't know about that. But he said, my other son is suffering terribly because his brother passed. Well, after the reading, he validated that his other son has a dog whose paw was hurt. Well, then the son said, may I have a reading? And I was able to do that reading for him, brought through his brother, who said to him, stop thinking about trying to join me here. And he was absolutely correct. The other brother was thinking of taking his life because of his grief. It was so bad over losing his brother. But once he found out he hadn't really lost his brother, and received guidance from him and some future information about a relationship that was waiting for him here, he's a changed person. He's off the antidepressants that he was on, but I'm not sure he's off them. He was told he can get off of them now because he doesn't need them. Once he found out that his brother still knows what's going on in his life, is part of his life, he moves forward with him. And that's what mediumship allows us to do.
Suzanne, the work you do is just so incredible and so needed. And I'm just honored that we're working together, and that someone with you that can hold such a large container of love and light can guide others in this process. That you're doing it from a place of that deep love and understanding because of your own personal experience.
Well, what's funny, Ariel, is that I take it for granted now that people know what mediumship is and how it works. But my husband was a Navy ship captain, a destroyer captain, drove the battleship Iowa. He was very left-brained, but he went with me to that medium's reading, and he was sobbing because there was no doubt his daughter, Susan, was right there in the room with us. Life-changing moments. And it was years later, Ariel, that he finally told me, I didn't know what a medium was when you took me to her. He just went because he used to say, honey, I want to go to a medium. And he said that famous phrase from husbands, yes, dear. And he didn't know, and now he's married to one. We had no
Right.
idea I would one day be a medium and writing books about mediumship, but this is why this book is going to be so helpful, because people who don't understand it will be open to this whole new reality, and the stories and the personal experiences change minds, open hearts. It's validated that hearing stories of others' experiences opens us to having similar experiences. So it's just a wonderful series that you've produced, and the ones on mediumship will really open people to this sacred practice that's available to all of us.
I know you're going to lead us in a short practice, but before we do that, just the last question I have that I think is important to just frame for people is the difference, if there is a difference, with somebody like yourself who is a medium and connects, or people connect through you for others, and people individually connecting with loved ones that have crossed. Is there a difference? Can people connect with their loved ones and maybe not necessarily open up to connecting with other people's loved ones as well?
Yes, if it's your calling to do readings for others, you'll know it. You can't not dedicate yourself and commit to the practice of expanding your consciousness and learning how to get those specific details. Some people are born to do this, and they've been seeing spirits their whole lives, and it's very easy for them. But people like me, we have to practice our scales, right? Like learning to play a musical instrument, fine-tuning this instrument. But we can all learn practices to make a connection with our loved one ourselves. I feel that there's no substitute for a reading with a very good evidential medium, because they get pieces of the puzzle that we don't necessarily discern for ourselves. I love having readings with others. I don't do it too often, but it's fun. It's challenging though, because anybody who sits with me knows they have to give me really good evidence and things I couldn't possibly know, but we can all make that connection.
And now you're going to lead us through a short practice.
Yes, and the beauty of working with Spirit daily is we are constantly given new tools, new practices, and this is the very first time that I'm sharing a new practice from, oh, I was just corrected by my guides. I did share it last week with a large group, but it's very new, and so I hope everybody will enjoy it. It's the practice of connecting regularly throughout the day with Spirit, and I use the acronym AHA, AHA. So we call this having aha moments. Anytime you want to remind yourself that you're not alone, that you have guidance available to you, and you can ask those across the veil, not only your loved ones who have passed, but guides and angels, use these aha moments, where AHA stands for align, harmonize, and attune. It's that simple. So if everybody would follow me, it's just takes a moment. To align, we begin by taking a nice relaxing breath, exhaling longer than you inhale. So with the intention of aligning with your true self, breathe in gently and slowly through the nose. And exhale gently and slowly through the mouth, softly pursing your lips. Let's do that one more time. And release any tension anywhere in your body, breathing in slowly. And exhale longer than you inhale. That truly relaxes the body. Aligning is nothing more than recognizing you're not only human. Moving your awareness to the heart now. Affirm through this alignment, I am a soul here and now. And now harmonizing is just like tuning a musical instrument. Where in your body do you sense anything that's out of harmony with total peace, love, relaxation? How do you harmonize? Simply by letting go of what is disharmonious. If you've been having a rough day, if you're out of sorts, turn up your light and ask Spirit to remove any dis-ease, anything that is not harmonious. So harmonizing could take just a few moments, but right now we just ask Spirit to bring us into harmony with love. Already you should be feeling brighter and lighter. So we simply attune now with Spirit by asking a question from the heart to a loved one across the veil or any higher being who has our greatest good in mind. Ask them, what is it I need to know now? Or what is the solution to any challenge I'm dealing with? Ask that question now. And this is a very brief practice. So just like that, many times because you paused long enough to align and harmonize, an instant insight will drop into your awareness. Even if you receive nothing instantly, because you asked so clearly from an aligned, harmonized state, you're going to be open to recognizing when the answer comes to you, whether it's in a sign or something somebody says, or that insight that drops in within the next 24, 48 hours. So these aha moments keep you in a state of being consciously connected and divinely guided. So I hope everybody enjoys using that practice.
Suzanne, thank you. Thank you so much. And what I love about it is that it is so easy to remember, especially with the acronym AHA. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we get when we tune in, right? So obviously brilliant. But I love the simplicity, yet, how powerful it is at the same time.
It is.
Yeah. I connected with my father.
Excellent.
I did the practice and that fast. Fast. He just came right in. He came right in. It was like, okay, there wasn't a question. Okay, Dad, it's I hear you, so thank you. Thank you for that moment. Suzanne, anything you'd like to leave our viewers with,
Yes, but my main practice is to teach people the awakened way of living. Very simple 3 principles. You are not only human. You're part of one big web connecting all that is, and mediumship will reveal that web very quickly and clearly. And the healing and creative force of the universe is love, which is the bottom line of what mediumship is about and what life is about.
Thank you. Thank you. Suzanne Giesemann, renowned medium and author of our upcoming book, Mediumship, Sacred Communications with Loved Ones from Across the Veil. And as we mentioned, we are in the call for stories until the end of October. So visit our website, sacredstories.com, and find out more about Suzanne and consider sharing a story within her book. Thank you so much, Suzanne.
You're welcome.